So some of you, half of you are new, so let me quickly tell you what I am and what I do, and then we will jump into the program as such. My name is Vijay, and I come from Bangalore now, almost 18 years it's passed for me in Bangalore. I had my own NGO. I worked in a training company. I worked in a retail sector. Almost there's a company called as Lush where I worked for 3.5 years. Then I moved to Urban Ladder. I was heading the learning and development for Urban Ladder. Almost 5.5 years I worked. From last, say, 1 year plus 1.5 year approximately, I've started this organization called Up and Rise. Over here, I try to train people. I try to train corporates. I do some L&D related activities. And I also do a lot of training for the youngsters like you all who are looking for some opportunities, works and stuff like that. Being from the HR and training background, in my career, I have taken say around some 3,000 plus interviews, which gives me a lot of insight and inputs of how this entire interview process is being done, what needs to be kept in mind, what is it like we can be okay with, what is it that we need to work on. So such are the things. Keeping all these things in mind, I have designed this 5-day program. Right, I'm sure you all would be aware of what all things that we're going to cover in these 5 days. We have day-wise schedule. I hope everybody would have received the day-wise schedule. Have you all received? Do you want me to spend some time on telling what are those 5 things, or are you all aware of it? You know what all we'll cover in this program, right? If you know, then say yes or type yes in the chat. No. Achha, Rohit doesn't know. Oh, Jeremy has no clue. Okay. This is okay. So I would quickly try to put you that information. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Okay, so the way we thought is 5 different days in which overall we will cover about resume writing, we'll cover about success stories to build credibility, we'll cover about effective communication skills that are required, how an interview can be a game plan, facing tricky questions, responding to tough questions, virtual interview skills, and also a bit of mock interviews, how this happens and things like that. This is what we'd cover. For today, day 1, we will focus on resume writing and success stories to build credibility. Okay, resume writing is what in which I have done a lot of like the earlier seminar which I have said, we have discussed a lot on those lines. As I promised, I will share that link to you people so that you can let me just get that link, or maybe if it's okay, I will share that link in the end of the presentation. Is that fair? Or maybe wait, I just got the link. Control-C. Okay, so here in your chat window, if you see, there's a YouTube link which you can refer in the end. Not right now required to open that and sit there. This is what we have done last time. Let me try to bring in straight to this today's topic without wasting much of the time. So, cracking an interview. Cracking an interview, many different steps involved. When we say how this entire thing has to be done, how do we crack an interview? How do we prepare ourselves? How do we prepare the required documents? And this entire 5 days, we will go through this journey of different learnings from different aspects of it and see how well we can work, we can prepare towards it. So the trick is all in how nicely we want to prepare for that. So everybody knows preparation is the key and we need to prepare for it. If we prepare well, we can get a good result. But the problem is many a times we do not really know what exactly to prepare. We would prepare same things again and again. It might have happened with you in your, during your exam times, you land up reading same thing again and again before the exam. And then when you go, sometimes you see a completely different picture. So the idea here is for me to tell you what are important aspects that you should look for and how do you work towards it. How do you prepare for an interview and how do you crack it? So preparation, the key thing, as I mentioned, let me try to share my screen as well for you people to. Okay, can you all see my screen? If you can see my screen, just say yes. Yes, wonderful. That's important. Okay. So we will learn about how do we crack an interview in a while, though slowly we'll understand in these 5 days. But to start with, see, interview is a process. Interview is not an event. Interview is not a one day or one particular moment activity, but this is something which is a process. When I say process, like any other process, this needs to have different steps. It needs to be done in a sequential way, and you need to follow each one by one, and then finally you will be in a position to get what you really wanted to do. As I mentioned, for today, we will discuss on about resume writing and success stories to build credibility. We will stick over there and see how well it works. One trick before I start this entire journey of learning, let me share. You would know more about cracking an interview or more about handling your own interview, not only when you give lot of interviews, but when you take lot of interviews. Are you understanding? Let me say one more time. You will learn more, not only when you give interviews again and again, but when you take interviews. I know the moment I say this, take interviews, many people would have this question that I'm a fresher or my role at this moment doesn't allow me to take an interview. See, that's okay. My point here is the moment you think yourself like you are taking an interview rather than giving an interview, the way you think about it, the way you work, the way you look at things will be very, very different. You will be surprised and amazed with few facts like interviewer always runs out of questions. If when you take an interview of your friend or somebody, you'll understand after say 1 or 2 questions, they don't have questions. Or when you're applying for a job where they have 5-6 interviews already done or 10 interviews done, that too especially for campus interview, there are from morning they're doing. See, they don't have questions which are like so straight and clear they want to ask. They search for the questions. And where do they search? They search for the question in you. When I say in you, what all things do you think an interviewer know about you? They know about your resume that you give. They know about the piece of paper that you have given, which he is reading through. And then he looks at each one and he tries to pick questions out of it. Or when you talk about something, listening to your answers, listening to the way you are communicating, the interviewer will get more and more questions. Now, this is a big secret. Now you might feel, okay, I know about it, but what you will learn here is how to use this secret. See, many times we know things how to do it, but we really get stuck. We don't really know how to crack that. We don't really know how to use it for your own advantage rather than, be, get stuck in the process. Okay, so let's understand a bit of resume writing first, and then we will go for success stories to build credibility. Quickly, I will spend, say maybe half a time of hours in resume writing and another half I'll spend on success stories, because resume writing, a lot of information you would also get from the video that I have shared. And when we have our questions, you can always ask me about it. Okay, now, resume. So this is the first and the most important document, because when you are there in front of an interviewer, you can talk 10 things, you can tell 10 things, and you can do any number of things to convince them for a next interview or for a job actually. But when you are not there, only thing that talks about you is this small piece of paper called as resume. You know what happens? The process of an interview doesn't start when you go for an interview, but it starts with this step of you writing a resume, right? I use the word writing a resume because I don't want you to pick a resume from somebody and start editing it. That's not how a resume needs to be done, right? You need to write. When I say write, again, I'm not talking about a paper and pen, or maybe to start with, that is also fine, where you pick all important informations, collect everything and keep it in one place, and then get onto the system to put it in a particular format or structure. There are hundreds of formats available in internet and everything is good. What is important is not the format. What is important is how did you put your information, and what we learn here is that how to put this information. So you would have heard this word resume or CV. Both are not actually same, but very, very similar. At this stage of career, you can say, okay, you call it a resume or a CV, it's fine. CV is, the difference is depending upon the size and length of the content and how are you putting across to it. At a job level which you are trying to go, you call it more of a resume that needs to be, available. Now there are key differences, as I said, for the CV and the resume. CV is comparatively a more lengthier format, and it talks about as a profile of an individual, right? It talks about what all things you have done, you have achieved, and how it's done. But resume is more of a short format, right? A CV can go for 10 pages, 15 pages, doesn't make difference. But a resume will stick to a couple of pages, a maximum of a 3, but I would suggest 2 pages a good enough resume, where you give key informations about you, which you want them to know about you, right? Now, what all those information and how do you put it, and what all things needs to be done, we will discuss over here. So to start with, when we want to write a resume, the slide says, right, the importance of a resume. The importance of a resume is just this, that because you are not present there and they would have got hundreds of resumes, why do you think they should shortlist your resume? And another thing, the one who offers you a job and interviews is different from the one who shortlists. So it's like this, you want to go for a 5-star hotel, you need to start with the security guard. They also need to get engaged and look for that. To reach to that level, you need to cross everybody. So interview first is checked by, for example, maybe an entry-level HR executive, or maybe the placement officers, or maybe the consultant who is doing that. They are going to review your resume and shortlist for. And their way of shortlisting is like this. Company has some requirement and they see how much you are fitting in their requirement. Most of the times requirements will be like this. Say, for example, an engineer with 2 years of experience on blah, blah, blah. Then they see, okay, this candidate has 2 years experience. Very good. Is he an engineer? He or she an engineer? Yes. And do these skills are present in the resume? Yes. Then shortlist. That's all. Right. How is it in between and all is a very, very different process, all that. Okay. So the resume is critical for that particular job that you're applying, because the job that you apply, this should crack it in. You would have heard this, many a times. Like, you will have a resume, you will send it to the company person calls and says, okay, your resume is shortlisted, you can come for the interview, but can you send me the updated resume? You're always been asked for updated resume. The reason why they ask for updated resume is that they assume that what resume you have sent is more of a general resume about you, but they want something specific for the job that you have applied for, and how that can be done is what is the important part of it. And I'll tell you how to do all that. Okay, now before getting into how to do and how to write and all, the first important stuff is time to introspect. When I say introspection, it's basically thinking about your resume is your life's work. Never copy that. Never use another Word file from somebody, file, save as, and then start editing. That's not how a resume should be there. You might definitely pick some format which you like, but every bit of it has to be something that you prepare for. I'll tell you the advantage. You might feel it's easy to pick somebody's resumes and put it and give the data. Now, if you are very serious to get a job, you understand that you need to prepare for it. Your preparation starts by when you start thinking about your resume and start putting every line right? When you plan for every line, you have prepared yourself, right? This confidence and the way you talk, the way you put everything works excellent when you have actually prepared for it. So when I say introspect, you need to think about you. Your resume is all about you. But because it is for a job, it is not about you as a person, but you as an employee for the organization. Now you need to think like this. If you need to fit into the job role, what kind of a personality of yours or what part of the personality of yours you should show it to the employer. That's all you need to show, right? For example, you might be a good singer, you might be a good dancer, but if the role is for, say, a system engineer, your skills of dancing and singing can be there later, but then what technologies you are aware of it, where did you work, if at all you have work experience, and those are the more important things that needs to come ahead. So you need to introspect about what kind of a person you are, about you, right? What no, I want to do and in future. So many a times you would see people go for a job and then they'll ask these questions. Oh, you have studied this, you are this experience, why did you come for this job? And then you don't have a very convincing answer there, because you're, first of all, that kind of a question you made them create in the way you have put. You need to be very clear. What do you want now? And what do you want in future? If you have actually worked on it, you would answer those questions like, I would definitely want to pursue what I've studied, but these years I want to learn about different other things. So I'm exploring on different options. Think like this. The attitude, what we should have, more of this we'll talk in the communication piece, but what you need to know is, as much you need a job, that much that company also needs a good employee like you or a good candidate like you. So it is not like you need to go there as somebody who's begging for something or requesting something and stuff. No, you put your position well, and then they put their position well, right? When things don't work in interview, you shouldn't feel bad at all. It is good that you have not selected rather than getting selected in a wrong job, right? We'll discuss all these things in a little more details. So what jobs you are applying for is something that you should know, because when you know what job you're applying for, you will start thinking in those lines and you'll start putting those lines, and I'll tell you what to put, where to put in, stuff like that. And what are my key competencies for the desired role? See, you will have 10 competencies, you will have 50 competencies. Now that is also an art to know, right? When we talk about success stories today, we will understand a little bit. Many people feel that, what do I know? Boss, you have studied so much, you have lived so much life, you would have understood so much. It is just that you need to see, right? Find out and put that in a right words, articulate it properly, put it in a right way so that people understand what is it that your competencies are. And those are important things that you should introspect. So this points of introspection is basically, you think about, you can jot down in a book and a piece of a paper and try to write what are those competencies that you have. See, always think like this. If there are 10 candidates who are coming for an interview, and say all those 10 candidates did the same qualification that you have done, it means they have the same skills or knowledge that you have. Why do you think somebody should pick you and not them? Something to think about, right? You need to give answers for that. People will not generally just like that pick that you. If you are able to give that answer, they will pick you, and we will learn how to do that, right? Now, concept of make it a question paper and not an answer sheet is quickly I've discussed in that day. See, the idea is like this. Many a times we see our resume is like so plain, everything that we have is written in such an answer format, like somebody reads, they understand, and then they say, okay, now tell me something about maybe something which is not there in your resume, and then you are like, oh my god. See, when I say question paper, it doesn't mean that, like how your exam question paper comes, you put 10 questions. No, that's not what it is. Try to understand the concept well. When somebody reads something, you should get questions in your mind, because as I told you in the beginning, interviewer doesn't have questions normally. He's run out of questions, or he's bored with his own questions. He is always searching for new and interesting questions. The trick is, can you give them those questions? If you can give those questions, they will ask you those questions. And if they will ask you the questions that you have given, that you have already know, it means what? You would have prepared very well for those questions. right? It needs to be like a question paper. When someone sees, they should get questions out of it, right? When they read something, they will feel, oh, they're talking this, it means, okay, let me ask, Acha, how did you do that? What did you do that? And each of these points, they should be able to ask you something which you want them to ask and you can answer. That's the concept. Are you all clear with me? If you have understood the concept of question paper, type yes. If you have understood the concept of question paper, type yes. Yes, very good, wonderful. So if you keep telling me, it's an energy, I would start getting in detail. Wonderful. So that you all know that you need to put it in a question paper. Only thing right now which I will teach you is how to do this. How will you make it a question paper, right? Now think about all those things that you have known about your friends or read about it, or maybe a WhatsApp message also. Sometimes when you read something, you would suddenly get another question to ask them, right? Try to observe the kind of things that are written there. You need to just put things like that. We will understand it slowly. So let's first learn about the key elements that are there in a resume, and we will, what all things you need to cover in that. You need to have a heading, right? We will go these in details. Let me first read you through what all things, then we'll go into each thing in detail. You need to have a career objective. You need to have a profile. You need to have current employment details if you are currently working. If you are not working, over here, the projects that you have been doing or currently what you are learning, and those things will come. Previous employment details, that too, only this comes to people who are experienced and changing jobs, or changed more than one job, where you can get a previous employer's information also. If you do not have that, it's fine. For freshers, you need to focus more on the work that you have done, the projects that you have done, and things like that. Other work experiences are basically some social work that you have done, some help that you have done. See, people would feel what is the relevance of that, but other work experience has a lot of relevance, right? Because people just don't want to hire you for those 5-6 things that you say, but they want to hire a kind of a person you are. So it is said very nicely in corporates that you hire the right attitude. Skills they can teach, right? I know somewhere you'd feel, itna saal se so many skills that we have learned, where is it going? No, it will be always helpful. But companies can teach you skills. It's very difficult for them to teach you attitude. So you need to go to them with that attitude, and this other work experience will help you. And this will also connect very nicely when I talk about the success stories. Educational qualification, technical qualification, extracurricular activities, and personal profile. Personal profile is more like your address, you're married, not married, your other details that you want to give. Extracurricular activities, I'm sure you understand what it is, right? Let's get into details of this. Heading. So heading, when I talk about, heading is the first thing that people should see in your resume when they see, right? Heading is something which is in the top of the resume. Many people would not put, and many formats will not give, but that's okay. You can put that. When you put a heading to your resume, you know what's a heading? When you try to read a book, there will be a heading, right? When you try to read your textbook, there's a heading. That heading talks about what will be inside, correct? Your resume's heading should talk about what about you inside, right? What all things you have put inside. It should talk to you in quite quick straight lines, and it should describe about you as a potential candidate, right? So when there are so many resumes, they should see the heading itself, and they should say, okay, this fellow can get onto it. That's the reason why I said that every time when they ask you to update your resume, you need to send them a little different one. Not that you change everything, but the core competencies that are required for the job, you will highlight it. In a resume, there can be 2 places minimum, or 3 if possible, places where you need to talk about your core competencies, about your strengths. Right. There are actually potential 3 places where you can talk about it. And I will tell you where all things, and wherever possible, you should put that, because people will hire you for that. Don't put the same words, but put words which gives the same meaning. Career objective. Now, everybody should have their own objective. Don't try to copy anybody's objective. You know what happens? This happened in a campus interview in Tamil Nadu that I was taking. There are some 4 formats of resumes, I think, which were floating. And we were interviewing some 120 odd candidates. every second or third person has the same objective in life. I'm just, we just give up with that candidate. They do not have this little patience of writing their own objective in life. That's not right, right? Don't worry about the language. Don't worry. This will all come. You will slowly polish it. How to do it also we'll understand. But a career objective consists of a targeted statement that clearly states the type of job you are seeking. When the objective is very clear, when somebody reads and they should feel the profile that an interviewer has in mind, he should feel that this candidate is for that. And your objective should be very clear about it. Don't just put objective on your personal things. Put objective on how you will give your best to the organization, and your organization growth will help you to grow in your career. That's how you should think about it and start drafting it. You can go to Google, search 10 different objectives, see, but end of the day, your personal original objective should be there. When your original objective is there, when they ask you questions about it, there is no preparation required. Like how I said, it needs to be a question paper. Imagine, I didn't give you the example there. When I say heading, I used to put this word called as smart working. Now, the moment I put smart working, do you know what is the expectation? I'm talking about maybe 16 years backstory. I think things would have changed. I would have thought different. But right then, when I was putting smart working, the way they look at the resume, smart working, abba. Then they ask, okay, what is this smart working all about? I am saying, please ask me that question. I have prepared for it. That's how I say it, question paper. When you put an objective, it should be in a way that when they read it, they should get a question in their mind. And then they feel, oh, let me ask. Got it? That's basically how this needs to be there. Profile. Profile is basically a brief summary of relevant skills, knowledge, and accomplishments. If it is well written, this section can be really help a potential employer to focus on your strengths. So what you do in the profile section is, if you have what all things you have achieved in your life, right? Can be work, can be personal life, can be during your projects, can be during your service. What all things you have achieved. The more experienced you are, your profile must be more detailed and more structured. For a fresher, don't worry that oh, I'm a fresher, how much I would have. People understand that you're a fresher, and then what is important here they will see is how are you looking at it and how are you trying to put details over there is what is seen, right? In this section, you should outline the important stages and milestones of your professional life, like how you have did something, achieved some project, worked something. So if when we work with one by one-on-one, sometimes, and we can talk about key individually, if you talk to me for 15-20 minutes, I can tell you what all things that you would have achieved. So the way you need to do is you need to ask right questions to yourself, and then you'll be able to do. Current employer details is you put your company name, location, date of joining, designation, job type. These are very common things which will anyway put. What you should for sure put is key responsibilities handled and key achievements, right? What responsibilities you are handling and what did you achieve? Everybody is interested in that. People are super interested on what is it that you are able to manage and what is it that you have achieved. If your responsibilities are matching with the responsibilities of the job that you are going, you are in. And if you have achieved something on that, you are 100% in, right? So for freshers, the way you should think is, what is the kind of a job role? And you need to see in what project and which project that you have worked, you have done this, right? Bring that experience over there so that they should feel that you are not new to these things, but you know it in some way, right? And when you put these responsibilities handled and achievements depending upon the role that you're applying, then they suddenly look at it as like, oh, it's a matching. That's the reason I said a resume has to be specific to the job that you're going. You would need to do good and enough research about the job. That's why they give you a JD, a job description. Go through the job description, and for a good right candidate for that job description, what things has to be there needs to come out in your resume, and that's the trick there. Previous employment details, if you have, you put all the details like company name, address, joining date, relieving date, designations, and job type and reason for leaving. Now the earlier KRAs, responsibilities, and you will also put that, right? Apart from all that, try to add the reason for leaving. Now, reason for leaving can also be a question. If you do not put it in a right perspective, the interviewer will ask you a question on why did you leave, and it will not go in a right way. But if you put a reason for leaving, then they will discuss over there. See, any question that your interviewer asking, which you want them to ask, by creating your question, by creating a resume as a question paper, you should have prepared well for the answer. Right now, that's the preparation. So when you see your own resume in the end, you should know that these 5-6 questions I might get for sure. It is like preparing from the last 5 years question papers. When you prepare well for that, you have chances of answering them well. And interview is a process. It goes step by step. Every answer you give, think that you got 2 points up. Another answer you give, you got 2 more points up. One answer you didn't give, 1 point down. And then the balance. And finally, if you're there, you get it. So that's basically how you manage as much you can manage. Add your education qualifications. People normally ask a lot in the educational qualification with regard to should I put my percentage, my year, and stuff like that. You need to put your year for sure. Right. Percentage depends upon if you feel that your percentage is good enough to discuss. Put it. If you think your percentage is not very good enough to discuss, you might not need to. People might ask a question to you on that. You need to prepare for it, depending upon whatever scores you have. But you have actually cracked something, got some place, you should put. Now, don't do like this. Like you put the score for 10th, you put the score for 10 plus 2, but you don't want to put the score for graduation. Then they will have a different question to you on why is this is there and this is not there. They will ask you a question on that. So keep that in mind and put your education qualification, right? You might also consider placing your experience section first, then the education qualification. When you're more experienced, put experience more and then education. As many years you work, right? More of experience that matters. Keep always a column for technical qualification. Technical qualification is important. Everybody looks for it, right? This is a section where you can mention details of your areas of expertise in whatever technology you know. MS Office is also a technology, right? An email writing, a PowerPoint, an Excel is a wonderful thing. Many times people get hired if they're mastering Excel skills. So things that you have learned technically and you're good at it, put it, right? You can use this section to highlight your main skills and the level of expertise that you hold in a specific skills that you have, right? You need to put technical skills. Extracurricular activities, qualifications and special skills, awards and honors, publications, presentations. See, many a times people consider these as very general information. Why do I put? These all things are going to show you what kind of person you are, right? Apart from your work. See, understand that when you're going for a job, they also know that you will do everything possible for them to ensure that you get selected there. You'll talk very nice, good stuff. But these things are something which will show what kind of a person you really are. Right? What really, the kind of things that you can do, right? For example, when someone says that, I'm hardworking, right? Now, how would somebody find that you're a hardworking? They might ask you and you will say yes. But imagine in extracurricular activities, you put that every Sunday, I ensure I go to say, a particular NGO to teach kids, and I've been continuously doing because I know someday this is going to make a big difference. This is going to take a lot of understanding. See, an interviewer is not straightly taking your answer, what you're saying. He keeps what things you have told and he checks by other questions to compare how much of you are telling the truth. The moment these two things match, he is happy. You need to ensure you need to match it by giving them enough of questions, enough of places where you can tell success stories, right? How to tell success stories and all, as I said, we'll discuss in the end. But all these things like your awards, your honors, your publications, your presentations, everything is kind of a success story that you could have, been done. Right. Say, for example, a fresher says that in the all college annual function, I was representing my institution by presenting on how our last 2-year performance had been. See, this shows like, your expertise on over there, and that success story will suddenly give them an impression of your being good, right? Different licenses and certifications will always be helpful if you have. If you don't have, it's okay. No need to put. But certain licenses and all, certain certifications and all, if you have, it's good. It's like grants and scholarships. When you put school, I received a lot of scholarships. It's basically saying that, you are being a studious child from the childhood. That's the important thing that comes ahead. Okay, professional association and stuff like that. Personal profile typically talks about your information, your basic information, your languages that you know, your marital status, your address and stuff like that. Fine, these are the things that needs to be there in the profile. Are we good? Are we good? Are we all getting? Say
Yes, sir.
yes. Say
Yes, sir.
yes. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Also, whenever I say yes, now I basically look at the chat window to see how people are typing. Anyway, you all can keep your questions because keep your questions. We will spend additional time sometime. We have 5 days. Anytime when you have when you think about it, you'll get questions. You can always ask me later also. Keep a pen paper and keep writing it. Don't worry for the slides and all things, right? That all can you can get them when you need later. Okay, now there are a lot of stuff written there. What I want you is to focus me on what I'm trying to say, right? As I mentioned, slide content you will anyway get, but try to understand those important things which I'm talking, which are not there in this slide, which you might need to know about it. Now here we're going to talk about steps to write a resume when you start writing it. Determine the need for your resume is the first step. Determining the need means basically, first of all, decide why you need to build or create a resume. Determine the purpose of creating a resume. See, this is a very easy, simple question saying that, I need a job. Now you need to be very clear. How many of you are looking for a job right now? Say yes if you're looking for a job. Say no if you're not looking for a job. Type yes if you're looking for a job. Yes, yes. Okay, we have everybody who's looking for a job. Okay, yes, yes, yes. See, when you're looking for a job, you need to understand that if it's like this. I don't know how many of you believe that if I go and pray before my exam, or whichever is your way of praying, I will get good marks. If you have this logic, it doesn't work, right? Grace or luck or blessings is one part of it which might help you somewhere, but what is important is what have you done for it. If you're really looking for your job, you need to work for it, right? And that too right now, it's such a tough thing. COVID all around, people are losing jobs, experienced people are coming at a lower cost, and you might also be, there are freshers and they're experienced who are trying to go. It's not so easy thing. You really need to work for it, and it's also not that difficult because in India we always have jobs when we always have candidates. It is just that the right candidate for the right job is a problem, because we learn different things. What are required are very different. So that's basically the matching bit. So you determine, if you really want to get a job, work for it. Prepare your resume yourself and try to do everything. This is a wonderful preparation that you can do. Okay, now decide the length. What is the ideal length of a resume? What you want to create? What all things you want to put? What all, like I gave you 10 different headings. Don't think that if your resume is 10 pages or 5 pages or 4 pages, you will get more impression. No, they'll be like same thing that you're talking. Your resume can be longer when you really have that level of experience. Not required to stretch the string. See, answers are always long. Questions are not long. Questions are short. And our objective is to put it like a question paper, right? So keep it very short, keep it very simple, but each line should create a question, or each line should give a question that you want them to ask for. Don't make it in a way that they ask, you have fully, said something that you do not really do, then to gone case. Okay, the next step is basically do a SWOT analysis. Somebody was asking me this question in the seminar which I've done. Where does SWOT come? SWOT is an important tool, right? SWOT basically talks strengths, opportunities, strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, right? Analysis of yourself. Use SWOT analysis to determine what are your strong points. Okay, now as I told you in the beginning, you need to know your core competencies, your strengths, and you need to put it in 3 different places. That's what we're talking about, right? How would you know what are your strengths? Think about it for a moment. Imagine those people who have made already their resumes, right? I'm sure you all have already made your resumes. From where did you get your strengths? Right? How many, you see most people would have very basic or, very general, not basic is not the right word, but very, very common strengths they put, like hardworking, honesty, trustworthy. Imagine if there are 10 candidates, 6 people have put the same things, because in general, everybody is that. This entire intention of strengths is lost there, right? When somebody is asking you strength, is strength of yours for that organization, for that role that you're applying for. You need to work for it. You need to make a SWOT analysis, right? SWOT analysis, how to be made is, there are 4 different columns: strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, and you start writing, right? What are your core strengths? Now, how do you know your strengths is, say if I ask your best friend to describe you, how he will say, right? What are the good things about you? Those could be. If I ask your teacher to give your strengths, if I ask your parents, to give your strength, if I ask your older ex-employer to give, they are your strength. See, each of them will give from their own perspective. For a mother, every child is very good, very beautiful, very nice, very thing. I'm not debating there, but I'm saying your core strengths are something that you can do well, right? As simple as it is, something that you can do really well, and there is nothing that you are writing which is not your strength. That's where the problem is. For example, you might be a very smart working person, but you saw that many people put hard working, you have also put. To your surprise, during the interview process with different questions, they will find out, and then they will feel maybe this is not the right way that is going there. You getting my point? So write properly. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? And what are those threats? Right. Once you write what are those threats, you will be able to match. See, strengths and weaknesses are internal, which are your own. Opportunities and threats are external, right? Which is outside you. That is like an organization. Your strength could be like you are, say for example, a very hardworking person. Your weakness can be that you get so much lost in the activity that you sometimes miss the goal itself because you want to do it in a right way, in a perfectionist way. That is internal to you. But when you say opportunities, what kind of companies are hiring right now and what are they looking at it? Threat could be like you, there are 5 other candidates. How do you put yourself better than that? When you have these 4 things clearly, see, these 4 things are not what you're showing to the interviewer. This is for you to prepare. From this, your words will come, your core competencies will come, your weaknesses which you talk will come. The way you would position yourself, the way the stories about you will come, and that's what it's going to help you. That's what it's going to take you to the next best level. Okay, that's where it is. Okay, 6:46. I think we're going a little slow. Okay, let me say steps for writing a resume. Decide the type of a resume. Decide the overall layout of the resume. Now, as you start putting it, the type of a resume is like for which is an experienced one, fresher one. How do you use? What are the things that you do? So what I would suggest is I gave you a sequence in the beginning, right? Follow that sequence. That's a very good sequence that to do. Layout is like you get 10 different formats in the market. Whichever layout you would put, you see that suits to you, which you can, you present yourself in a very good way. Trust me, layout plays a very small impact. What plays an impact is what is the content there and how is it connecting with the people to go to the next level. Okay, create a very generic resume, and then there is something which is specific. As I said, a generic resume, because you don't know which company you will go, but you need to put it in Naukri, you put it in LinkedIn and different other portals. So a resume which talks about you overall should be first created. And when an interviewer gets your resume, says you're shortlisted, send me an updated resume. You say, definitely, sir, can you please send me the job description? Now, when they send you the job description, go through the job description and see what are the key headings you should change. What are the core competencies that you should change? What are the experiences and responsibilities that you want to bring ahead and talk about more is how you need to work for that, right? Research about the target company and the organization, and you will understand how to put that. Customize your resume, so don't make it so general, one thing made for everybody. Customize to what kind of a requirement you're going. For example, you're going for a customer service role, you need to show empathy in your resume. How do you treat people? How do you see about them? How do you think about them? Those things has to come ahead. So if you're going for more of a technical job, you need to see how did you work on the technology, or how did you learn different technologies, how quickly you're able to learn technologies. Put things like that which are relevant to there. That's customization of the resume. right? This is like creating a reference document. Now this is more detailed of the preparation, right? After building a resume, make sure you create a separate reference document which you can refer to. Why did you put that thing? Because all these will guide you towards creating that success stories that I was talking about, which will help you to get more in detail. Reference documents are like when you have put some strengths, you have put some say extracurricular activities, you need to put like, okay, what made me use that, what kind of a story I can do. Once you prepare it, this automatically comes with you, right? As I was saying, there has to be a multiple versions of a resume, not the same version should be there, because your resume should depend on completely, it should be on what job role that you are applying for, right? You should not make one for example, you made one resume and the same thing you give doesn't work. Depending upon which organization, what we discussed, right, it needs to be put it in those ways. Clear? Fair enough. Let me also share you about some qualities of a good resume before I go to the next thing. Your resume should, I mean, all what I have put clear straight lines, but let me quickly say. So it needs to grab your reader's attention. Okay. Establish your credibility. It is a well organized and easy to read. It is convincing. So these are all key points that you should see. The moment what all I have explained to you, if you follow it, you will understand these all will be involved there. There are certain do's and don'ts. I wish I could. I'll do one thing for all these people in your WhatsApp, right? To keep our learning continue, I will share you few do's and don'ts, right? Of a resume writing. Because once you start doing that, right, instead of discussing do's and don'ts are very clear, straight English points. So I'll send you in your WhatsApp in the group that was been created. So your learning is continuous. You see there, and maybe next class when you come, you can ask if you have any questions there, right? But if you follow the do's and don'ts, you would understand how a good quality resume can be made, right? When they see it, people should not get mistakes like a capital here and there, or grammatical mistakes or spelling mistakes. Those all things needs to be checked, and it needs to be put it in a right way, right? Basically, reviewing your resume will always be helpful. Now, reviewing your resume, when I say whatever you have put your resume, there should be people who should do it. Like proofreading is one part of it, spelling errors, grammatical errors. You should also check your resume with different people. For example, ask a friend of yours what do he or she thinks about it. Ask a colleague or a classmate. Ask a family member, and ask someone in a superior position. Like if you're applying for a system engineer job, for example, if somebody is already working in the system engineering role, give them and ask their feedback. They might suggest you 2-3 small things which will make a lot of impact. A family member will definitely be able to suggest because they know you much more, right? They might say, Kiere, your real strengths are not coming out. You will learn a lot. Friends, there are no better people than friends, right? To say good or bad stuff, but people will give you feedback. Your classmates and colleagues. Now, when you get a feedback, always remember, people say what they feel right or wrong, right? It doesn't mean that for every feedback you would respond and you start making changes. No, no, no. Feedback is for you to think about it, that have you done right or wrong. So whatever you have made, once you get a feedback, relook at it and see if that really makes sense, then follow. People will keep saying something or the other. You need to know whom to ask, what to ask, and how to ask, right? There's also a concept called as covering letter, right? I do not really know how many of you do that, but a covering letter is a very impressive way, especially if you're experienced roles, it works. I do not know how many of people here are experienced and they're looking for a job change. Covering letter is like a simple additional piece of paper that talks about why you should get this job. It's basically has a personalized greeting, a strong opening, persuasive body content, and a compelling call to action. So basically, this document is like a letter. You talk about saying that, no, hi, I'm this, I've been working on these things. So imagine if you are standing in front of a person and giving your resume and telling that why you should be given this job. then this is exactly how this document would come. This is what you actually write about it. Clear? Are we good till now? Are we good till now? Say yes, write yes in the column if you're good, or you have any questions right now, you can say question. Okay, you people have, okay, yes sir, we're good. Okay, so it's 6:53, we have 7 more minutes time, and 7 more minutes time is a little short for me to start and complete the success stories of building credibility. So I have 2 options for you people. Right now, this 7 or the 6 minutes right now, we can spend on, if you have any questions to talk to me, right? The success stories onwards, we will start tomorrow. So we will, because success story is one of the key and most important concept that I want to tell you people how to write your own success stories, and we'll spend some, say first 15-20 strong minutes on that. Is that okay? Can we do it tomorrow, or you want me to do it now? Do you people have any questions? Say yes or no. Hello?
We can do it tomorrow, sir. Success story.
We can do it tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You people have any questions?
No, sir.
Nobody has questions? Anyone has questions? People?
So,
yeah. Who's this? You can switch on your mic. You can, yeah, we're less people. So you can switch on your camera if you want.
I'm Jeremiah here.
Jeremiah, okay.
So, one thing you told, about the previous company.
Right.
So, you told to write about the reason why you're leaving. So
Right.
It should be the truth or something that should be
Okay. Right.
manipulated.
I would say never do a manipulated answer, right? Manipulated answer itself is wrong. Now, what is the true reason that for which you have removed, come out of the job has to be thought of. See, what people see when they ask for reason for leaving is, one, they have this fear that your reason, for example, your reason is I am not able to grow in my career. Okay. Now imagine this person understands he or she will face the same problem here as well. Then they are like, okay, this might not be a right candidate. Or he says that, see, my boss is pushing me too much of work, too much forcing me to do something in my odd working hours, so I didn't do. If you say like this, they would feel that, okay, when he's pushed towards pressurizing a task, then there is a different thing. So what I would suggest you is, don't give a wrong information, but keep it settled, right? If you know, if you can tell me the real reason for, if your question is for that, then I can suggest you how do you put it. There is always a right words to use, because you also will not leave the job simply like that. Why would someone leave a job? 3-4 major reasons. One, their boss is killing them with pressure, work stuff and things like that, right? Could be one. Two, you're not getting the salary that you really wanted to do, right? Maybe what could be the other reasons? Three, you are not growing there. You are not learning enough over there. For example, if you are not learning enough there and you don't tell me this line, then your company who's recruiting will never focus on your learning in the future. Now they understand this candidate is a good learner, pick him and ensure that he learns continuously. Or in fact, imagine that this company don't have learning opportunity. They will not hire you, which is a good thing. Otherwise, you came out of this company with the same problem, you're going to some other. How does it make a difference? Right? So I would suggest keep it settled. Don't pre-decide that I will manipulate or give a wrong answer. You find out what is the real answer. If you have a real answer, we can sit and we can articulate it in a very correct way so that they understand the problem why you have left. The problem should neither be them nor be this. It's basically, it is not matching. Right? That's how
Okay.
it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Good evening, sir. My name is Aravind.
Arvind.
Hello.
Yeah, Arvind, tell me.
Actually, I have one question, sir.
Yes.
Can I ask you? Can I put my educational qualification at last, sir? Since I don't have much of CGPA, can I put it at last, sir? I have done so many achievements and I have experience also.
Yes, of course you can do. That is what I was trying to say. See, what you need to put in your resume in the front or back is not nobody else decides. It you see. So it's like this. When you talk good things, Arvind, I talk one good thing about you. Then second good thing, I get a little more positive. Third good thing, I'll get much more positive. Fifth good thing, I'll get much more positive. If there is a negative thing in the seventh or eighth point, no, it is not that bad. But imagine in the beginning itself, you have something which is not a very good thing, then it goes with that impression. Right? We all carry impressions. We're all human beings. That is how psychologically we work. You tell me, you go and meet somebody, in the first 2 minutes, you make an impression, isn't it? Good or bad. And then whatever they do, you work in that way. So it is completely fine. Not at all a problem. Right? When somebody asks you a question like, "Arey, why is it like your education thing is there?" You say, "I'm more of a practical person." Right? This creates an impression, a clarity to them. More like, see, what you have is what you have. What you don't have is you don't have. You cannot change or manipulate anything. So you can put it in any place which you want. That's not at all a problem. They just need to know that you're qualified. To me, a qualification is a gate pass. You will not get a job because you have done engineering. You are in the interview process because you have done engineering. And then what you have done in the engineering and other projects will give you a job. That's how it is.
Thank you.
Clear?
Clear, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions?